Okay.
When the world
Okay,
seems so far away, you can count on me. I will be there for you. You
Okay.
know it's a school disco if that tune comes on.
Oh yeah, what's it?
It's gonna annoy me.
Back down then.
I'm sad.
Who is she? Who is she? Where did you find her? I have dreams all the time that these teeth get stuck behind here. I can't get them out all the time. It's like, I'm like, I don't know why I have a dream like that all the time.
I had a dream.
Okay. So this section of the podcast, we're going to be kind of talking about and answering some of your dilemmas. So we've put on our Instagrams any dilemmas that you've got, or any questions or advice that you need, and we're going to try and answer them as well. How helpful as possible. Trying to be as helpful as we can. I'm very much like my aunt.
What do you mean?
At parties.
Oh yeah, you always end up being.
I always end up, yeah. Like all your friends, all like younger people media. I want to start.
Girl, you alright?
Hello and welcome to Comfort Corner, the brand new podcast where we're going to be telling you funny stories, answering your dilemmas, and in general, just having a good time. I'm Jess.
I'm Dan.
And
I don't know how to say my name.
And today we're going to be talking about funny holiday stories. Now, growing up, we were really lucky and we went on loads of different holidays. And because of that, we've got so many stories. So we thought we would start off kind of going in age order, but also kind of countries as well. So
it'll just be easier.
So it'll just be easier. There will be a part 2 to this as well. Don't worry, we're not going to go on.
Sorry, we have to do a part 2. I know,
but
everyone likes to keep it in one part.
No, but there won't be any like cliffhangers. So let's start off. We said the first country we're going to talk about is America. So we've actually been to Florida 3 times.
Yeah.
Like
your toes. Your toes are moving. I can feel them on my leg.
Once when you turned 5 out there, and then I think we went again when I was like 13. So you would have been about 9, turning 9 out there.
I remember I had my little Elsa dress on.
Yeah. And then the last time we went, I was in year
older.
10, I think.
Yeah.
So I'd be like 15. So you would have been
year 8.
Yeah, something like that. Anyway, so we went like different times. So we're going to kind of tell you a few stories from those different times in Florida. So we're going to start off with the first one. Was when we went to SeaWorld.
Okay, right. Obviously, we have to disclaimer. We don't agree with SeaWorld anymore. I actually hate it. Obviously, when you're like, how old was I? Like
you were 4 turning 5.
I was 4 turning 5. So very much, you don't have a clue. And obviously, like, looking back on it now, like it's obviously awful. And I remember watching, what's the film? Blackfish. And obviously watching, and you're like, oh my goodness, this is actually awful. And
our parents as well think exactly the same now.
They do look back and go, oh my god.
My dad's just awful. Like, I'm literally embarrassed that we went. But at the time,
you don't even know. Like,
we weren't educated because we were kids. Yeah. They weren't educated either.
Because everyone was going. Like,
so we're not promoting SeaWorld, but we went. And
when we
were kids. So the first day we went on to Florida. So that was the first day we came to the parks, and we went to SeaWorld. So it was the first roller coaster that Dan had ever really been on because we'd not really even gone.
I don't remember being on a ride, but I remember then the aftermath. Like, I can picture it in my head.
Yeah, so I don't know if anyone's been. They do them in lots of the different parts actually. That ride where you're you go up and then you
drop down and then in water splashes at you.
Yeah,
and obviously we've been on like years after. I'd obviously then gone on like Splash Mountain and I'm fine on it.
Yeah,
but this time obviously it's the first ever roller coaster. I think I got wet as well, and I have a thing about getting wet. When like maybe if mum and dad said, oh, you're gonna get wet, I'd be like, okay, cool, I'm preparing myself. Sure. We've got a spare change of clothes, I could get changed. But I think it was very much, you got all wet, I'm sopping wet, and they don't have a spare change of clothes, you're all soggy.
So literally,
as a 5-year-old, you're like,
so we're on this ride, right, and we're going up. Now you had no idea what was going to happen.
No, exactly.
You weren't old enough to know. I knew it was going to happen.
So I think
Mum, Dad knew it was going to happen.
So I was just like, ah!
And we literally we went down this side, and afterwards Dan was like, traumatized. And we come off, and from then on, the rest of the holiday,
I did not go on any ride. Like literally,
literally
the ET ride. Like I remember being like, I can picture this in my head. I remember being on it, and then like I literally just cried my eyes out because I was so scared that there was going to be a drop. I was so scared that every ride there was going to be that drop. I was petrified. I literally like scream and cry.
Do child swap. So we didn't know. So essentially, you'll queue up and everything, but the parents both wait at the beginning, so you don't have to queue up all over again. Basically, the other parent like waits, and then you can go on it twice.
So that's quite good if you've got babies then.
Yeah,
one can wait with the baby,
and then
while the other parent,
rather than having to queue up all over again to go on the ride. So we ended up doing that.
And the only ride I went on was the Jaws ride. Other than that, every single ride I'd
small road as well.
And it's a small road. Other than that, I loved Jaws.
But you were so young. Bless you. And we were like, and you literally talked about it. Was
like, Dad looks back and goes, "Oh, I should have probably taken it's a small world first."
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, that was the first time we went. And then there's also the story again. Dan, as a kid, was absolutely hilarious and just come up with these one-liners. So we were having dinner and we come out of a restaurant. And there's this lady who's like obviously quite elderly and everything. She's kind of hunchback and she's walking in and she sees us and she goes, "I don't want to sit next to children." And it's so funny.
Like, you know, there's certain memories that I actually can picture. Like, I don't know the lady. I can't picture the lady, but like I can picture an outline of a lady and us coming out into the car
without
park.
a beat. We carry walking and Dan turns around as a literal 5-year-old and goes,
"I don't want to sit next to anybody that has a lump on their back." And then literally that, like, then like, just sitting there like laughing,
wetting ourselves because you were 5 at the time.
I thought I was a bit older than that.
It was our first time in Florida. So no, it wasn't.
It was the second time.
Are you sure?
It was the second time.
Okay, it's the second time then. So you're about, but you still were only about 9. Yeah. And it was one of those, one of those memories that you just look back on, and it's absolutely hilarious because the way you just said it out of nowhere as a kid. Oh my god!
You know what she reminds me of? You know the Madagascar where there's that little old lady with the glass rose.
Don't worry, just that chicken. Yeah. And she hits him with a bag, the lion. Yeah. And she did actually. A bit like that. And then there was also one where I remember we were in this restaurant and I think it was like a seafood restaurant. It was a fish restaurant.
Having all crabs and that. This waitress, bless her, I think, you know, when you do something and you don't expect it to happen, like you say something and you go, "Why did I just say that?" Like she comes up to us and she went, "Hello!" like so loud. And you know, you're like, and I kind of tried not to laugh. And it was very much, I bet, it was one of those things that she went home and thought about when she went home, like in the car, being like, "Why did I shout?" Like,
it's so funny.
Like, why did she scream? You can tell she didn't mean to, because that's something that I would do. You know, you go, "Why did I just make that weird noise?" Or like, "Why did I just say that?" Like, it was one of those scenarios.
Poor woman. Another time when we were shopping and we were in a car, so we used to hire cars when we were out there. So we went to like a shopping mall or whatever, and there was like, obviously there was a police officer there. Obviously that, like, he was, I don't know, I think it was his job to be there, like
yeah, they just
sort out crime, like security guards or whatever. And there was a stop sign. So obviously, highway code and that, at a stop sign you stop, right, to make sure, and then you go, don't you? Yeah. Well, this police officer come over and goes, "I didn't see you look," to our dad, and we're like, "What?" He goes, "Sir, I didn't see you look. You didn't look at the stop sign. You just went straight through it." And he's like, "No, I could see nothing was coming." He's like, "Well, I don't know. This doesn't look good." And I have a massive fear of going to prison, right?
And bearing in mind, we're in America and obviously the police have guns. So why I'm pooping myself, being like, "Oh my God, my dad's going to get arrested."
And going into also an American prison, I literally was like, "Oh my God, this is it. This is over. We're all going to go to prison. Like, we're all going to go to prison because Dad went for a stop sign and he didn't look enough."
I thought he didn't know where he was going. So you just, you know, when you're driving along, kind of going, "I don't know what to do," and you've driven past something and you go, "Oh, so I shouldn't have done that." That's what I thought would happen.
No, it was a stop sign that he went through, but he had looked, but the police officer didn't think he looked hard enough or didn't think he looked good enough. I don't know. I think he was just bored. You know, sometimes they're just bored. They don't know what to do. Sitting there all day, nothing happens. So he thought, "Oh, you know what, I'm going to stop this guy. He's English." He was like, "I need to see some form of license, sir."
License registration.
Got his license and he's like, and you know, he went through, "Is this a hire car?" So dramatic for what happened, and we went off and I was like traumatized. Honestly, I thought, this is it. Like, this is it. You know, honestly, I was, because we were quite young. I mean, I probably was like 13 at the time, so I wasn't that young. But as I said,
that you watch movies and that of everyone getting arrested. So it was like,
we went to like the Florida Keys and to the Everglades, which anyone who's ever been there before essentially is like a swampland with loads of alligators. It sounds. It doesn't
I
really
held
smell.
a baby alligator. I was really proud of myself.
Yeah, it doesn't really. But again, I don't know if that's a bit like controversial now. Although it wasn't, because they let it go back in the water, didn't they?
Well, no, yeah, they were baby alligators. They would nurture them until they were old enough to then put them back into the water so they can survive.
Yeah. So we went on this boat trip. Everybody's water. It
was quite scary though.
I can't remember what it was called, but anyway, so we went on this
if
boat.
you watch The Next Step, that basically a really weird episode of The Next Step where they basically get stuck in the middle of the Everglades, and it's like 3 of the boys and they're literally stuck in the middle. They've got like nothing, and like, you know what, that's
like
on
a boat.
Yeah, like the same thing that we was on. You know what, that's like the worst. That's like the worst possible thing you could be stuck on, like in the middle of the Everglades with crocodiles.
No, alligators. They're alligators. And obviously there was this guy, the tour guide, who does it every single day.
Oh, he was really nice.
Every single day.
You know when people wear sunglasses for the whole day and you don't expect them to look like something because you've seen them with the sunglasses, or like when I wear my glasses and take them off, people are like, oh.
Yeah. So obviously he's doing it every single day, so he's got to have sunglasses on and everything like that, and obviously he's sun-creamed his face. And he takes his sunglasses and he looked like one of those Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles with the mask on, because obviously his sunglasses were like this. So obviously the sun was on his face, but not getting this part of his eyes. So he took it off and he looked like he had a bandana around his eyes.
Oh, bless him.
Bless him. And you know when someone does something and you go...
But you didn't want to laugh, but you know, you're just like, oh, bless him. Like, he was really sweet.
Yeah, he was really nice.
He just had his little funny glasses.
The other one was when we were in, I don't know if you remember this, but we were in Harry Potter World in I think it was in Universal Studios.
Well, yeah, that's where Harry Potter World is.
That's what I'm saying. Is it in Universal Studios? Yeah. Okay, all right. Okay. It was in Universal Studios, and we were queuing up for the Hogwarts Express.
Oh no, I remember this one.
Yeah, we were queuing up for the Hogwarts Express, and basically it goes from one part to the other part that's next door to it. And we end up in the queue with these 2 Canadians. Now, there's many things that we've been asked over the years. We've gone to different countries, and there's been different people from different places, and they've asked about the UK. Usually,
about the
have you met the Queen? Is it true that you eat tea and crumpets? Or have you met Adele?
Or what, such a shame what happened to Lady Diana as well.
Yeah, a lot of things.
It's always
but
that.
This question that was the most bizarre thing. And I just remember looking at this woman going like, what? And the first thing she asked was, do you have mousse in England? And I went, well, like chocolate ones in Sainsbury's, yeah. They're like, no, like mousse. Like the animal, like a moose.
Like, no, we were like, no. Like,
yeah, you're just baffled thinking like, well,
it's such a random.
No, we don't. But why do you want to? It's just such a random animal to know about, isn't it? Yeah, bizarre. And then, you know, when you're talking to someone and you're thinking, oh God, I want to get away from these people because they're just like, I just want to leave these people now. But obviously we didn't, because I think he had some sort of disability, so we could get on rides quickly. So he goes to the guy, my friends are here. So he pulls us forward and we end up on the Hogwarts Express with him.
Bless them. Yeah. They were sweet though. It was just the funny questions that they asked. It was quite late, so I think we drove from like Florida back down to Key West, I think. So obviously it was late, and obviously it was literally the Everglades. So
no, Florida. We were in Florida. We drove from Orlando, where the parks are, down to Key West. The Florida Keys. It's the same.
Oh
state.
Right, okay, yes. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, and we were driving along, and obviously Dad was like, okay, I need to stop off, like get coffee or whatever. So we're in the McDonald's drive-through.
Bearing in mind, right? I know it says whatever. We're mixed race. So, and I know people are going to go, oh, I like the race card, but genuinely in Florida, we did get a lot of funny looks, eh? And I think people were really confused at having a white mum and a black, a white dad and a black
dad, black,
and a black mum. Our parents aren't together anymore, but anyway, that's besides the point. And I think they'd be a bit like confused and stuff. And there'd be loads of times where we'd go on a ride. We'd be on a ride,
and
we'd be queuing up. And they'd stop my dad and be like, who are you with, sir? And he'd be like, I'm with them. And they'd be like, okay. So, you know, you get those horror films where you end up in a random, like, McDonald's or, like, motel shop.
Yeah, in a weird shack or, like, petrol station. You'll be like, oh, gosh. So, bearing in mind, we're at the drive-thru, and this boy, bless him, I don't know. Obviously, as a kid, I thought, oh, he's a bit tired or something. But he was
on something.
On some sort of something. And he's leaning against the wall, being like, "What do you like?" Complete. Dad was now. Bearing in mind, obviously in America they have different words for things. So obviously it's like pants. We say jeans. Yeah. or pants and trousers. So Dad was like, "Oh, can I have a coffee?" But then the guy just did not know what a coffee was, or it was like, "Oh, can I have a latte?" And he was just like, "What's that?" But like, I'm sure, yeah, there are lattes in America. Like, you call it, it's the same drink, yeah, it's the same thing. And he was just trying to hold himself up, and then obviously we all need to go to the toilet. Obviously, Dad pulls in, and we go into the toilet, and obviously it's very, like, literally we walked in, and it's like one guy with like this long beard, and then you've got,
you look at him and you think, you're gonna kill me.
Yeah, like literally, I was like, I'm gonna get murdered, right? Like, we walked in, we were like, we're gonna get murdered.
It was like a horror film.
It was so scary. Like, it was all
speaking over each other.
It's fine.
No, we were literally like in this McDonald's, right? And it was almost like the lights were dingy, weren't they?
It was dingy.
And we were sitting there, and we were standing. Not sorry, we weren't sitting there. We were standing there. This guy was sitting there, and I thought, oh my god, this is like a horror film. This is like when they go to those like motels on holiday, like you know, and you see them in horror films and stuff all the time, or like Pretty Little Liars and stuff like that. And I literally was like, oh my god. So we walk into the toilet. What do we hear? If you're an emetophobe, don't like skip forward, because obviously people are gonna, if you don't like sick, if you're not being sick, the sound of being sick. And he goes, and this person goes,
anyway, so me and Jess have already gone to the toilet, and my mum's in there. She's like, don't leave us, don't leave, and we're there like, we want to leave this toilet. It was so scary.
This is disgusting.
Like, bless this girl that was being sick,
throwing up in the toilet. It was, and you know, you could smell it. No, don't.
No, but we literally were just there like, oh, we want to leave, we want to go leave, we want to leave, we want to leave.
And we ended up getting back in the car, just thinking, oh my god, where are we? We're in the back of Beyond. If we break down now, what's going to happen to us?
Yeah, because
like, there's no one.
Everglades,
because like, it was just the Everglades, yeah, like the swamp water, or
and that was it. And it just and a road,
literally probably for about 2 hours, maybe a little less than that. I don't know if I'm exaggerating there.
Yeah, but I don't actually remember.
It was for a while. There was one where, again, this was the same holiday when we were at the Everglades, and we were in a restaurant, and again, and obviously I like to wear my makeup when we go out. At the time, I used to wear so much makeup going out, didn't I? I used to literally wear, like, thick eyelashes, whatever. And a lady comes up to, this waitress comes up and goes, literally deadpan, "You remind me of my grandson's girlfriend. She does her hair like that and wears pretty makeup." And honestly, I looked at her and I thought, you're the kind of woman that would be like, "I'm going to take you home and bury you under my front porch." Like, that kind of state, like the way she was speaking was, again, like one of those, have you seen that Dorothea Puente, that lady who basically murdered all those like older people? She used to have these like boarding houses for like older people, and she murdered all of them. It was like that. The way she spoke was like her. And I sat there and I thought,
oh, I thought she was just trying to be nice.
Well, she was, but the way she was saying it was so scary. She wasn't saying it like it was, obviously it was a compliment, and I was like, oh, thank you.
Yeah.
But the way, you know, the way someone speaks sometimes is
a bit like, oh,
that's the thing,
you know, and you're like, I don't know how to take that, so I'm just gonna smile and just say thank you.
Thank
you
very much. So yeah, those are like America stories we've got. Probably got loads more, but we'll move on now to the next one.
Mainly one.
Yeah, to Menorca. Now, again, we were really young at this point, probably similar ages, like 6 and, how old would I be if you were 6? 10? No, younger than that, a lot younger than that. I'm probably about 7 actually, and you're probably about 3. Yeah. And I remember we went to the toilet in this restaurant. Now, before you sit and go, oh, your parents let you go to the toilet on your own, it was literally like 30 seconds away, and it was a disabled toilet, and I couldn't open it. Now, my hands were slippery and I couldn't open the toilet. Now, I'm the older sister, and I'm thinking, I need to get us out of this situation. Oh my god, we're going to die in here. This is it. We're stuck in this toilet. So I turn around and I go, down, scream. So back down and we go, at the top of our lungs, literally as much as we can. Obviously, our mum and I are sitting there eating their like fajitas or paella or something.
Being like, what on earth is happening?
And then they turn around and they're like, is that the girls or whatever? So one of the people that in the restaurant, like the waiters or something, ran to the door, and when I tell you he opened it, he went just like that.
You're very No, but you were kids. Like,
we were young.
I think from that day I never used to lock the door in the public toilet.
From that
but then
point,
the amount of times people used to walk in on me,
I was so scared.
I hold the door, and then obviously as I got older, I was like, okay, no, you actually have to lock the door now because people are going to walk in on you.
No, I used to do that as well. Mum was like, don't ever lock the toilet door again.
Yeah,
so I used to put my feet up against the toilet. And the last one we're going to talk about today was in Cyprus.
It looks like I'm crying. I'm not. I just got watery eyes.
Oh, you ain't emotional. The last one we're going to talk about today is the one in Cyprus where you were being a spoilt brat child, and then in the end it all worked out. Oh. So there was this competition every evening called Dress to Impress, and basically it was the kids that came in the best outfit got a mocktail as a prize in the, like, you know, the kiddie evening entertainment thing. So my nan bought us these dresses. Yeah, we wore matching clothes when we were younger. We're not twins, but anyway, I think loads of parents used to do that, put kids in their matching clothes. There was these dresses, and we used to all wear them, and every time we wore them, everyone was like, they're gorgeous, we love them. So in my head, I'm like, you know what, we're going to win. If we wear these dresses, we are going to win. So I say, right, let's put this dress on. Now, Dan decided that night she didn't want to put this on.
I think maybe, if I remember right, at 3, I think you always used to moan that we used to wear the same things, so that's why I wouldn't wear it that night.
No, it wasn't that. You didn't have
That's what I think it was, but also I was
didn't have enough consciousness to think about that.
You never know. I was a smart kid.
Well, you're a conscious baby. We've seen the conscious babies on.
Yeah, that's so strange.
So she is screeching her head off, right? And obviously, I'm saying to mum and dad, like, well, we're going to win the dress from press competition or whatever. And my mum and dad are putting her in the dress because going, if I then won with the dress and you weren't wearing it, you'd then go even more mad. So they're making you wear this dress and whatever else. Now, obviously, we win, don't we? And they turn around, you're sitting there slurping your cocktail, as if an hour before you went screeching your head off like a spoiled brat child. I don't want to wear the dress. I'm not wearing it. And I'm just there like, well, we're going to win and I'm going to win. So you can either join me or you can go away. Yeah, no, they were nice dresses though. I didn't know why you didn't want to wear it.
Well, as I said, I think it's because you always moaned that we wore the same things. I was like, all right, then we won't wear the same thing.
At 7, it's not cool for us wearing the same thing as your 3-year-old sister, is it? You want to wear separate things. Like, you want to wear your own
7,
clothes.
Do you even think you're cool?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like all your friends, all like younger people in my dance. Yeah, I always end up being an agony aunt at parties when you have parties, or if there are parties with a lot of younger people at. I don't really know.
My age.
Yeah, you're right. But younger, you're 4 years younger than me, so that's like younger than me.
Yeah, but it doesn't.
To Dan's friends and I say people younger than me that, for example, that of my friends that I used to go to dance with and stuff like that, always ends up being a bit of a thing. But anyway, I don't mind. Quite like being advised. Future psychologist over here. I like to analyse people, answer these dilemmas and questions as best we can. Hi girls, I'm struggling at the moment, feeling left out of my friendship group. I feel as if though I'm the last one to be thought of and I'm always the spare part. Okay.
Spare car.
Okay, this is something I guess I've never really wanted to talk about before because I think I've been worried about people's perceptions of if I talk about it, kind of thinking of me
I get what you mean.
As like, oh, you must be an issue and problem, whatever. But actually, like looking back,
I feel like as well it's dependent on the situation because I think sometimes, some people can be an issue, but then sometimes as well, can people just be nasty? Like I feel like it's dependent on the situation. Like like you see on TikTok, people go, "Oh, you're the issue. You're the issue." And it's like, well, actually, no. But then sometimes, you can be, but sometimes you're not. Yeah, and I suppose, So I suppose if I kind of speak about this, so definitely at secondary school, I really struggled to be honest, the whole way through secondary school, to be honest with you, friends in school, I'd always really struggled with this, and I'd always be the fifth wheel. So there would be a group of 5 of us, and I'd always be the last one. So it kind of would be a case of like, if there was something to do 4, they'd always be the ones that would do it, and it never would be like really switch out, and it would always be like, yeah, sorry, I'm having a barbecue, but my mum said only 4 people, including me, and I'd kind of be like, we're 15, like you're having a barbecue at home, like okay, fair enough if your parents are paying for something, but I could come to that. You just don't really want me to come to it. And I remember there would be like group chats that I wouldn't be involved with, and I was meant to be in like this group of people, and I'd go to parties and stuff, but for example, every Friday evening they'd go to one of the boys' houses and there would be like 12 of them, and I was the one to not get invited. I was always the one to not be on that big group chat or whatever else. And I remember like I'd bring it up sometimes, and then I was made to feel like we can't be invited to everything. And it's like, hang on a minute, there's 12 of you. If there's 13, it doesn't make much. It's not much of a difference.
Yeah, exactly. Like I think it's different. Like when you have different groups, so you have perhaps there is 12 of you, but you have like different groups of 4. So you have, and they kind of go out more. But it was always 5 of us, and then if there was only 4 places, or there was only 4 people going to something or whatever, I'd always be the one that I was left out. And I think for ages I kind of sat and I was like, what is wrong with me? Like, why don't they like me as much as everyone else? Like, why am I always the last person to be invited and stuff? Anything. For whatever reason, I didn't necessarily fit into what they wanted, or I had different kind of maybe interest. It was very
different to them. Really.
I had a very different personality to them. They perhaps didn't want someone with my personality.
You was very much the person. Like, I feel like they were the group of girls that very much like they had hobbies when they were kids, but they stopped doing it because it's not cool anymore. And like, oh no, I'm 15. Oh, why am I going to do that? But you carried on with it. Like, you carried on with your hobbies, which was good because you still was doing stuff. Like, you would go to dance.
I had like a certain passion.
Yeah, so you'd still come to dance, but then you would leave and go to the party after dance, in comparison to they would just go to the party. And like, you still had hobbies that you were still doing in comparison to they just didn't do anything.
Yeah, because they didn't have like a passion or anything like that.
And then you'd be seen to be a weirdo.
Which is fine. Like, not everybody does.
Yeah,
like,
completely.
If you don't have something that you're really, some people like want to focus on their schoolwork. Some people want to focus on their friendships and being social, all that kind of stuff. But for me, I always had my passion and my interests. And actually, looking at the time, like, I had loads of friends. I had friends, all my dance friends,
types of groups of
from outside of school. My best friend, who I'm still best friends with now, Grace, who we've been friends from primary school. I was always invited to all of her group of. We went to different schools, so I was always invited to her things. I had, as I said, I had massive groups of friends outside of school. I had friends in school, like, but not necessarily in friendship groups. So in reality, it's like I wasn't an issue, which I thought I was. It just, like, for whatever reason, I didn't fit into those groups, and actually, I probably wasted a lot of my time trying to really fit into something that I was never going to fit into. And I was never going to fit into that kind of group. And it is difficult at school because you constantly, you're like with them insecure anyway, and that's a group that's the people you're spending most of your time with, and you just want to fit in. You just want to fit into what you're trying to fit into, and I think that's quite difficult. And the reason I'm talking about it now is just because we were so young at the time. We were 15, 16. I'm 23 this year. Like, I don't care anymore. This is years ago. Like, I've not spoken to the girls since we left school. Like, it's absolutely fine. Like, I don't care. Like, it's
and it just kind of just like, okay, cool, you just leave it there.
It's fine now. And we were young at the time. Like, there's lots of different like reasons as to why different things were happening and stuff. But yeah, I definitely did struggle with that at school. But I think it's all about like drawing on the friendships that you do have. So say, for example, if you have got a group and you feel left out, it's kind of, rather than blaming yourself and thinking, what am I doing wrong? Why don't they want me in the group? What have I done to them? It's just going, you know what, like, this isn't working, or I'm not fitting into this group for whatever reason.
And I think sometimes as well, like, I saw this one thing and it was like, I'll just let them. Like, I'm not gonna grovel and be like, oh, poor me, like, oh, hey, why haven't you invited me to this? And I'm like, okay, cool, you don't. Cool,
I spent way too much of my time.
I'm gonna do my own thing then. Like, as well, if you've got other groups, okay, cool, I'm gonna go out there with them then. Like, why am I gonna bother? If you don't want to invite me, okay, cool.
I spent way too much of my time in school, in secondary school, thinking, like, trying to change myself, or in my head keep like trying, and actually I should just let it be. And I think now it's like, looking back now, and obviously I'm an adult now, and we were kids at the time, and it's not something that I sit and hold any resentment towards those people with. Like, I don't.
Sometimes you just have to go.
Like, I don't anymore. And as I said, we were young, but yeah, just let people do what they want to do sometimes. Like, sometimes you're making your life more miserable, or you're trying so hard for something that you don't need to really put a lot of energy into.
And I think sometimes as well, it's like, okay, you're like saying, oh, I really want to be in this group, really want to be in this group. And it's okay, when you're in the group and you're having a nice time, are you actually having a nice time?
Yeah, are you feeling happy?
I think sometimes I'm like, actually, you know what? I'm sitting here being like, oh my God, I want to be in this group. And then I'm there and I'm like, oh, actually, no offense, but I actually don't want to be with you. Like, I remember, like, in primary school, I remember being like, oh, I want to be in the group, And then I remember sitting there and being like, I'm actually quite uncomfortable. I'm like, I actually don't want to be in this group right now. Like, I'm just a bit like, smile and wave, and just like, hey, yeah, cool.
That's important as well. And not to kind of give in to, like, wanting to be popular and whatever else. Because it really doesn't matter. Like, you look back now at school, like, what, it does not matter Do you mean I'm an
like,
adult?
you've got so many people that like peak in high school, and also as well, like so many of them aren't friends. Like I remember, like even like sometimes, obviously, as you get older, you see like people make like TikToks or like they'll make like an Instagram post, and it's so interesting because I'm like, oh, like from their perspective, they're like, oh, then some people aren't even friends with the people that they was in that massive group with, or like they all didn't like each other within the group, but none of them would actually say that. They'd all just be in this group where they all don't like each other.
Case of like, there was 4 of us in the group, and in music it'd be like get into 2s or 3s, and they'd get into 3
that,
and I'd be on my own.
And you'd be like, okay, you could
and
have
then
done 2s,
and it's like we could have gone into 2s here.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I'd get upset, and they'd be like,
why are you getting
what?
upset
Yeah,
for?
like things like that. And that was like lower down in school. That was like
Yeah,
year 7,
yeah.
year 8, and I did end up speaking to one of the girls actually that kind of was in the situation, and they did like speak to me about it, and like, I'm really sorry, like that shouldn't have happened, which is fine.
And sometimes as well, like you get caught up in it. Like I remember at certain times, like looking back on things now, I go like, why did I do that? I'm like, what on earth was I thinking? Or like, you just get caught up in it. Because as well, if someone keeps telling you like, oh, I don't like this person, or all this and that, and you're like, oh yeah, same. And then sometimes I'm like, why on earth did I do that for? I'm like, what?
It's sometimes your whole life, because it is school is your whole life.
You get caught up in things, and I know now I'm looking back on things. I'm like, why on earth?
Think about it. You were there every single day, Monday to Friday, right?
With the same.
You then the same people. You then see people outside of school, whatever. You talk to people, so that's your whole life. It's like being at work and stuff. If you work a full-time job, that is your whole life. And I mean, we'll have discussions like this later on in different episodes about work and my opinion on 9-to-5 jobs and work being your life and the only thing that you do, and not be alone working for other people and stuff like that. But yeah, I think it's definitely drawing upon friendships, because you will have other friends. If it's not a group, it doesn't need to be a group.
Because I think sometimes as well, like you can have more of a laugh with like 2 of you, or like I think my thing as well was always like seeing like those big groups like do stuff, and I'd be like, oh, I want to do that and stuff. And it's actually like, well, you know what, sometimes you're gonna have a better time with 2 of your friends in your kitchen dancing around.
And if they don't want you there, why do you want to be with them?
No, exactly. Like I'm like, what's the point? Like, don't bother. I'm just like, at the end of the day, go with people that want to be your friends
and want to be with you,
and make the effort with you, instead of then guessing. Because I think if you have to guess, oh, are they my friends or not, or they're leaving me out, they're not your friends. Well, some people are a bit silly and leave people out and don't realise it, and then kind of like, oh, sorry, I didn't even mean to.
Yeah, you can get that as well.
I think sometimes as well, like you just get caught up in silly things.
And I think people don't realise necessarily they're not doing it out of being nasty. It's just they don't realise how it can impact someone.
Or they do the stupid, oh, but I thought you was with X. I thought you was here. And I remember I used to be like that, where I used to be like, oh, but I thought you was doing this. And then being on the other side of it, I'm like, oh, yeah, it's not fun. And I think being on the other side, like now being on the other side of it in some things, I'm like, oh, I feel bad, or like I want to apologize to the people that you do get caught up in it, especially if you are with a set of people all the time. You then do get caught up in what they're saying to you or how they treat people, because you just go, and especially as well, like I think sometimes with me, I just go, want to do it for easy life, because I'm like, I don't want to cause an argument. And sometimes it's like, okay, actually you should have stuck up for that person or something. And I think in some issues I have really stuck up for people, and other times I have then just taken a step back.
We all have regrets for friendships, don't we? Like no one's perfect with it. Like that's part of growing up. You always have different things that you're kind of like, why did I do that? Or that happened to me, or this is a situation, or why did I not just go like, why did I follow that crowd of people when I didn't agree with that, or for the ease of just being with things. And
like I think as well, I feel like sometimes it's difficult not talk about it, but like because I'm younger and like it's still like you're a lot older, not a lot older, but you get what I mean.
No, but like I'm 23 now.
Yeah, exactly.
23
you're a bit like, oh, actually, it's kind of fizzled. But like with me, I'm a bit like, oh,
you've only just left school. You left school a year ago.
Yeah, don't quite want to talk about that or whatever. But I think there's sometimes I've like left people, like our little groups left people out, and I felt really bad. It's being, I feel like there's a level of like excusing it because you're a teenager and you're young, but then also it's like you're still necessarily old enough to be conscious that that's wrong. And I feel like that's always sometimes a fine line with stuff, because you can go, oh, like, because you can, every single scenario that you've done something wrong, you can go, oh, I was just a teenager and I was just silly. Sometimes you then go, well, actually, no, you shouldn't have done that. That was wrong. And other times, you was a stupid teenager.
Yeah, I remember when I was kind of like year 7, like, or year 8, and we were going on a trip to like Belgium or France. One of the two. We went to Belgium and France. Can't remember which one we went to. And yes, and I remember it being a case of these kind of people like would basically try and get you to sit as furthest away from the back that you could. So they'd sit at the back, and then they'd almost like plan the seats. So they would sit there, and I remember it would be like the people they didn't like, would make and sit as far away from the back as they possibly could. Front? So like as far to the front as they could, away from the group. Yeah, I know, and all things like that happened. I don't even know if I want to go into that, but that was just
a bit strange.
Yeah, strange thing. People,
instead of just letting everyone sit where they want and like, I get that you'd have the group that always claims the back, and you just be like, okay, cool. But then I'd just sit with my friend, and that'll be it.
No, but it was like you'd want to sit with people.
Oh, with them.
It wasn't just me. It happened to. There's a couple of people you want to sit with them, and they'd be like,
you can't sit with us. You have to sit at the front.
And they'd be like moving you forward, so they'd sit there.
They'd actually move you.
No, they'd make sure that other people sat in the rows.
Oh right, so it's oh gosh.
So they made sure people sat in the rows.
Oh, ain't segregation.
So you were 5 rows in front of them, even though you wanted to sit with them.
Oh.
And you'd still be like, oh,
it is interesting though, isn't it?
And actually, why do you just think I'm just going to sit somewhere else then?
Yeah, like it's interesting how you like as kids you're like, oh, but I want to be in that group, and you're like, why?
Hi girls. How do I deal with judgment on social media?
I want to start. Girl, you're alright. Sorry, it's just giving that.
Hi girls. How do I deal with judgment on social media? I want to start posting TikToks, but I'm worried about people around me judging me. One thing I like to say now is just like at your big age.
Wow, like, still judging.
At your big age, right? If you're going to judge people for posting on social media, that's embarrassing for you.
You can't knock. I feel like as well, like I'm still trying to get over it, but it's also like you can't knock them for trying. At least they tried. Like what are you doing? You're still sitting there going, oh, I don't know, or even you're just going, oh, why is that person doing that? Well, at least they're trying. At least they're trying to get somewhere.
I suppose you are younger, and I get like as I said, you have school a year ago and stuff. But for me, like as I said, I keep saying I'm an adult, right? If I sit back and I'm thinking that people are judging me, whether it's people I went to school with or people I work with or whoever, and they're judging the fact that I've posted some TikToks or whatever, not any like not risque TikToks. I'm not nude. I'm not anything like that. I'm just posting like my impressions and things like that I enjoy posting. That it's actually if you're judging that, like that's actually embarrassing on you.
Yeah, I feel like there's a difference between like judging it at home and then judging it in the comments. Because you can judge someone. Everyone judges people. Like, unfortunately, that is life. Everyone judges people.
Judging someone for what?
Oh yeah, that's true.
If someone's done something bad to someone,
it's like, that's
fair enough. If someone does something that you completely disagree with, right? But I'm posting an impression of me doing a Lady C impression on TikTok, and you're judging it for what?
Yeah, it's like just because that's not weird. What you would do on TikTok doesn't mean other people can't then do that.
That's embarrassing on you, I think. If you're judging people for that kind of thing, doing harmless fun. Yeah, it's different having an opinion and doing mantra and stuff like that. Like I always kind of laugh and don't judge. It's not like a judge, but I kind of laugh at the people that kind of set up do it where they do like morning routine.
Oh yeah,
and they set up their tripod. They
get into bed.
They put their phone. They set up their tripod and they get into bed. And they pretend they've woken up.
Yeah, and I'm
like, I just find it funny because it's like we all know you haven't woken up like that. Babe.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I've got a face with makeup on. I'm like, okay, but that's what they want to post. That's what they want to post. I'm not like commenting on it or going.
I think it's strange.
Or you're embarrassing for that because
I just scroll past it. If I don't want to comment, I don't comment. Like I don't understand people that just leave hate comments. I'm like, why do you need to do that? Like, has that actually made you that happy about your life?
Well, yeah, and everyone talks about stuff. Don't get me wrong.
Completely. Like, but I don't need to tell that person that. Like, you know, when it's like, especially like with celebrities and stuff, or like even influencers, like, I don't like that dress. Why do you need to comment? Genuinely, I might say to my sister Jess, being like, "Oh, that was a strange dress that person was wearing." I was like, "Done." Yeah, I don't need to then comment and go, "By the way," it's like you might. Yeah, everyone has discussions
between having an opinion and then judging someone.
Yeah,
so you could go, "Oh, Jess, she's a bit funny. Like she's a bit like weird. Like that's absolutely fine, right?" But then going like, "That's so embarrassing to post that." Well, who are you? At your big age.
Who are you anyway?
So this has been Comfort Corner with me, Jess,
and me, Dan.
I hope you've enjoyed. We will see you every
day.
Every day. What day we're going to upload it?
A day that we decide because we haven't quite decided yet.
And
we'll probably put it over this.
Yeah, we will let you know. But yeah, comment down below. Make sure to follow us. Make sure to follow our TikTok, our YouTube channel, and our Instagram pages. We will all put the details here and in the description box down below. Again, if you have any questions, dilemmas, etc. that you want us to answer, please do DM us on Instagram or go on one of our question boxes that we will be putting up every week. And we will try and answer some of your dilemmas. Well, thank you very much.
Goodbye. Bye.